I'm delighted to welcome to this month's Q&A Jack and Mariza, who are, Jack is a doctor who's originally from South Africa and working in the NHS, and Mariza is a dietitian who also has come with Jack from South Africa to come and work for the NHS. They've kindly agreed to do a quick Q&A this afternoon just to help other doctors in the same situation or other medical professionals who are thinking about relocating from South Africa to the NHS in the UK. So I suppose the first question for you, Jack, is what was your interest in coming to work for the NHS?
So I must say it wasn't a special interest to work specifically for the NHS. It was more a question, and you'll find that from many South Africans, is that they want to get away from where they are, very sadly so, because we have a beautiful country, but there are many things in South Africa that makes it a little bit untenable to live there. So people want to go to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and then obviously when you come to the UK, you have to work in the NHS because that's your sponsoring agent for your visa. So it's actually sort of a requirement than more than a wish to come and work for the NHS. But it's also a good opportunity, and you've got a lot of job security when you have a contract with the NHS or when you get a permanent post. So, I mean, that's just the vehicle of moving from one country to another to come and work as a medical professional in the NHS, yes.
And was there a reason, so you mentioned Canada, America, the UK, was there anything that helped you choose the UK above the others, or?
So, unfortunately, there's an exodus out of South Africa of professional people, and they choose countries where they can speak English. So that's then America, Canada, the UK, Australia, New Zealand. But then you have to choose the weather. You want to go down south or stay up north? It was a question coming to the UK that you're central in the world, you're central in Europe. Your timeline with South Africa is much the same. Another option, obviously, is Ireland, but you have different prerequisites for every country you have to go to, and there's different routes, and some of them are quite strict, some of them you have to write many exams. So coming to the UK, because I had a GMC registration back in 2002, that was quite a straightforward pathway for me.
And the same question to you, Mariza. How did you feel about moving to the UK? Were you on board as well? Was it your preference? How did you feel moving as a professional as well?
Yes, well, as we've been together for more than 25 years, so there wasn't really a question of me not coming along. so I think probably the most important difference in terms of my profession is that, unlike, for example, Australia or North American, there's no need to actually write an exam. So there is a process where you actually have to have your qualifications vetted, and you have to go through a process of registration. But because of the quality of our degree and our qualifications in South Africa, it's accepted by the Health Professions Council for dietetics and physios. It's called, the word's gone now, a moment from my head, but it's accepted. And once you've gone through that process, you can register, and then you are ready to go and work. You don't have to actually write an exam. So that part of the process was pretty easy.
More straightforward than where it could have been elsewhere.
Yes.
And I suppose one of the things that doctors struggle with when relocating to the UK is how different the NHS systems and the whole process is compared to back home. So how do you feel the NHS differs from like healthcare in South Africa?
So I've worked in the NHS before, 2002, 2005, I came for short locums, and I've worked in Canada as well. So basic healthcare is more or less the same from country to country. The NHS as a system is different, but you pick that up in 2, 3, 4 months. But the approach towards patient care, the risk stratification that people are, the risks that people are willing to take, very low in the UK. So it's a very low risk approach. So lots of investigations, blood tests, and not ECGs, but radiological investigation. So you have to think differently, and that takes a bit of time to really get your head around. And that takes 6 months or more to get the way people think about healthcare and about how to approach a patient, how to speak with a patient, and what your safety network is in the UK is quite different from what we are accustomed to.
So I'd say that's the biggest way to adapt, really, the way it's approached in the NHS. And then the similarities between the two, is everything else the same? Because like I've done temp. I've been on the temp team for so long. When doctors start, they're often asking us about like the prescribing systems or like the actual software that they use. I know it differs from trust to trust. Is that quite easy to pick up, or is it any difficult? Is it similar to how it's South Africa?
So software, that's a novel word where we came from. So no, so although the systems are different, at least there is a good system in place.
Yeah.
So in many places where we come from, we don't really have a good software or even hardware system. And because we have power outages all the time, it's on and off. So you have to revert back to paper on and off during the course of the day.
Oh my gosh.
So picking up the system, it takes a shift. You take one shift, you work the system, you pick it up, and you carry on.
Thank you. So in terms of comparison, it actually sounds quite straightforward, really. Just wants to come to terms with the thinking and the way the NHS approach things. The rest of it sounds like it's quite adaptable within a couple of months, which is good for us to know and for us to tell other doctors. So I just want to look at the logistics of moving, really. And I know you said that Mariza had a large part to play in the actual logistics of it, and there's so much that you've got to think about. Firstly, I will just go through perhaps the application and interview process. So I know you were working with my colleague Shaq. Did you find that quite straightforward to get a job? It was just before COVID, wasn't it, that you started?
Yes. So again, the interview process is different than in South Africa. It's much more relaxed, laid back. You don't really know how you're doing in the interview. In South Africa, they would ask you many patient-related clinical kind of questions, quite hardcore, where it's more a conversation. They ask you a couple of questions. So I didn't really have a good sense of how I was doing, but apparently I did well. I got the job. So I actually had 2 offers on the table, and I chose the longer contract with a better salary, obviously. But no, I didn't. I found it quite straightforward, and they let you know in advance what kind of questions they're going to ask you, how the panel's going to be, and so I was quite well prepared, and I felt relaxed in the interview.
That's good. And then I know that you settled upon the Midlands. Were both offers there, or were you choosing between different regions in the UK, or was Midlands where you wanted to go?
Well, we didn't. We don't know a lot about the UK, so for me, one place was as good as the other. So I had an offer in Scotland, but it was not a long-term offer. And to pick up sticks and move over, you need a longer-term offer. 6 months was just not cutting it. So 18 months was more amenable, and and the salary was better. And the Midlands is quite central. That's why it's called the Midlands.
That's true.